Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to go over the 4 main sales KPIs of a life insurance telesales business with the goal is to remove as much emotion from your decision making in this business as possible. To remove that reluctance to dial all day. To remove that anxiety of, hey, is this business going to work for me? By the end of this video, we're going to give you a clear formula on if this business will work for you or not, based on these 4 KPIs, and how to see your business through the lens of this is simply a math problem. Fundamentally, this business is a math problem. And if you can see it that way, your business can change dramatically, okay? We're gonna show that to you in this video, okay? Underneath every agent's business is a math problem. The KPIs, the key performance indicators, are the variables, which we're gonna go over here. And the result is a profit or loss. And the next slide here, we're going to go through some profit and loss examples on how these KPIs can affect your profit or loss in a big way. Some of you are just one change away from being very profitable and you have no idea. Some of you are about to throw in the towel right now and you are so close to breaking through, but you just don't know it, okay? So let me go over these 4 main KPIs and I'll show you what we mean here. So the first one is close rate. Of course, we're a sales organization. Close rate's important. Okay. So you have close rate and, we'll take Facebook leads as an example in this video. So Facebook final expense. Standard agents, which are just new agents coming in that are trained up, that have a good sales process and who call their leads. Okay. We're going to assume agents are calling their leads through here. That is a given. So if you follow the sales process and you call your leads and you are putting in the work every day, you will close 5% of your Facebook leads, okay? If you are a tenured agent, we call these performance agents. If you're a performance agent, you will have a higher sales rate. We have agents closing 7% plus consistently, okay? We have agency owners with 35 to 40 LOA agents working Facebook leads that have a 10% closing ratio on average. Means out of all the 35 agents, the average is 10%. There's guys higher, there's guys lower. And that's because they call their leads quick enough, they call them often, and they are very sharp with sales. They get better every single day, okay? That's what it takes. If you want to get to a higher close rate, you need to get better every single day and train every single day. Be faster at calling your leads and call them often. Okay, so that's close rate. We're going to put this all together in just a second here. Okay, so I won't go into the explanation of all these too much because what matters is how we group them all together and make decisions off of it. Okay, second KPI is your annual premium. Okay, newer agents, $900, $950 annual premium. Performance agents that have been in it for a while, around $1,000 annual premium every single month is what that equates to. And that's pretty much industry wide. That doesn't really fluctuate much. You really can't help the annual premium much. Where you make the most changes in your profitability is your close rate and your place rate. That's the third KPI here, okay? Your place rate. And that is, place rate we define as a successful first payment drafted. Now, you can go, if you shortcut the sales process, you're gonna have a lower place rate, right? If you're not making sure it's comfortable and affordable, that's not going to take any food off the table, you're going to have a lower place rate. If you're not doing a proper button up, if you're not servicing your initial premium returns, if you're not doing all those just fundamental things in your business, you're going to have a low place rate. Newer agents, they're going to start at around 65% place rate. Performance agents that have been in the business, who are doing the proper things, are going to be at a 70% plus. And that's even low in itself. There's agents in the 80, 85% range, okay? But I'm just talking about agents as a whole. The performance, most agents are happy in the 70, 75% range, but there are agents up to 85% place rate consistently. All right, so all that to say, and this is the most important piece right here that I want you guys to understand. We all know close rate, annual premium, place rate, basics, right? But you put it all together, you have your CAP score. CAP is close for C, A for annual premium, P for place rate, CAP score. You multiply all those together, you get a score. You take your close rate times your annual premium times your place rate from the previous month. Look at this month over month, guys, and you're going to determine a score. And your cap score represents the anticipated placed premium for every lead taken. Okay? So let's unpack that. Let's just say you're paying $10 for a Facebook lead on a campaign management. Okay? $10 a lead. And you have, you're a newer agent, your close rate's 5%, your annual premium is $900, and your place rate 65%. Okay? So take 5% times 900 times 65%, you're at around a 29, call it 29 to 30, 29 cap score. Okay, you're paying $10 a lead and your cap score is 29. That means that you are placing $29 for every lead taken. Okay, that's the first perspective you need. And this is where it starts to click for people. You're paying $10 a lead, or whatever it is you're paying, okay? Could be $8, could be $12, wherever you are. Okay, let's just say you're paying $10 a lead and you're placing $29 of in-force premium. And that's just at 5%, $900 annual premium, 65% place rate, okay? Now you have to factor advances, so your cash flow isn't actually that great, right? You're probably at a 2-to-1 cash flow because your average advance is 75%, and not all policies advance, and some of them have advance caps, so let's just call it 65%. So you're probably at around a $22 cash flow rate, but that's not a calculation that you need to do. What we're looking right now is cap. So you're at 29, placing $29 of in-force life insurance for every $10 you spend. All you need to do is get that number up a little bit to 6-7%. Get your placement up a little bit. We're going to show how that affects your numbers here in a second, okay? But can you scale that? You can. You can scale $29 cap score, but you can really scale a $40 or $50 cap score, okay? And that's where you need to get your cap score to. So if you're not making a lot of money right now, you're not making the money that you want, there's a few things you need to look at. Look at your past 30 days, look at your cap score. Your close rate times your annual premium times your place rate. First of all, the very minimum, you have to be at 29. Let's just call it 30, okay? If you're below 30, you are underperforming. You need to get back to the fundamentals, okay? You're either not doing the work required, you're not sharpening your axe every day, you're not, there's something missing there. Okay, and you probably know it, and you probably know what that is. Okay, but if you're above that, can you get to a $35, $40 cap score and really scale this thing? Okay, because the fourth main KPI is leads taken. Most agents start at around 10 leads a day. Okay, that's the bare minimum. If you take less than 10 leads a day, I can even make a case that, that if you take less than 10 leads a day, you're not giving this business a shot. You will fail out. But most agents taking less than 10 leads a day are just dipping their toes in the water. The agents that dip their toes in the water, and this is most agents, are the highest likely to fail. You have to give it a real shot. You have to get in the flow and feel that flow of taking a lot of leads a day so that you're constantly busy. And that's when you start really making big strides in your business. We always tell agents that, hey, I can only take 10 leads a day. My budget only allows that. Okay, and they can do it for the next 30 days. Well, no, take 20 leads a day for 2 weeks, okay? Get in that flow, get those presentations out quicker, learn quicker, and earn quicker as well, all right? So anyway, all that to say is you make a decision right here. Look at your cap score. Let's call it $30, and let's just say you feel more comfortable if you're at $35, $40, okay? So you work on your close rate and your place rate to get there. You could probably look and okay, my close rate's 4%. I just need to get that to 5% because my place rate's really good. And that is very scalable. But if you know that you're placing $30 per lead taken, that's a powerful thing to understand in your business. Okay? And then it becomes, how many leads are you going to take? Because if you're only taking 10 leads a day and you're placing $30, per lead taken, so you're placing $300 a day, but you're spending $100 a day. Is that workable? Once you factor in your advance and your effective commission level based on your mix of business, is that profitable? Can you work off of, right? That's a difference of $200 in placed premium, right? So $100 spent, $300 placed. So factor in advances, call it 65%. I know most are 75%, but once you factor in as earned and advance caps and things like that, call it 65%. Can you live off of placing $130 profit a day? Depending on your commission rate, you're making 100 to $150 a day. Times that by how many working days in the month, right? Are you able to get by on $2,500 in profit a month? Probably not. But what if now you know that, and you just take 20 leads a day now? Can you get by on $5,000 a month now? Okay, that's the stuff you need to look at. Know your cap score. Know it month over month so that you can feel the confidence in what this business is going to do for you and you can take more leads. All right, let's look at this in a profit and loss lens right now. So right here, we have a $10 cost per lead. By the way, you can go to digitalbga.com/income estimator. There's no password on here. Anybody can go here. Cost per lead, call it $10 like we said. Taking 10 leads a day, 5% close rate, 15% spouse sell rate. That's just leave that as average. Unless you know yours, then you can increase that or decrease it, but that's about average. $900 average annual premium, average commission at 95%. We start agents at 110, but once you factor in the mix of business, you factor in graded and GI, factor in 95%. Be real with your numbers, okay? Average placement rate, 65%. Again, you're a newer agent. And average advance of 65% as well. Again, factoring in GI and stuff like that. So you click calculate and you're at $23.70 monthly. That's your profit cash flow, okay? You spent $2,200 in leads and you placed 11,385. Your gross commissions were about 7,000. Your net commissions after advances were 45.70. And once you remove the lead costs, you come up with that 2370. And then, but you also have 2461 coming, later on in the next 12 months. Okay. With chargebacks and everything, just forget this. Just forget this line, and that factors in your chargebacks. And you'll still make more, right? But just for cash flow's sake, let's look at this. Now let's just say you got to that 7% sales rate. And you had the $1,000 average annual premium, okay? And you got to 70% place rate. All very, very doable things within your first 30 days. Now you're at $5,500. Spending the same amount of money, just working on sharpening your axe. Maybe you need to call your leads quicker. Maybe you were just taking too long to call them. Maybe you were not calling them enough. Maybe your phone was flagged as spam. Your mentor will help you with this. Your coach in the business should be able to help you with this. All right. Then you bump it to 20 leads a day. What does that look like? Now you're making $11,000 in profit a month. Okay. Because you have the confidence of a 7%, you're at 7%, your average premium's there, your placement rate's 70%, what your cap score was. You felt confident that you can get that to 20 leads a day, and you're at $11,000. Okay. Some of you are just one decision away of breaking through. And that decision is based on, looking at your cap score and deciding okay, my closing rate is only 3.5% right now. That's not good, but you probably know why. You're either not calling your leads quick enough, you're not sharpening your axe with learning your sales process better and working on your communication skills, listening to some of your calls and just getting better every day. You can't just go through the motions of making dials, making presentations, and not sharpen your axe every day. You have to get better. If you do that, you will get to a 7% sales rate within 30 days if you take it seriously, okay? If you don't take it seriously, it'll take you a lot longer. And I find a lot of agents aren't serious about building their sales skills or the effort they're putting into the business. But I think if you understand your cap score and you understand, oh my gosh, I'm paying $10 a lead, but I am placing $40 of in-force life insurance business for every lead I take. I'm going to try to take as many leads as possible, right? And so now 20 leads a day becomes 30 leads a day, and you're at 16,000. Okay, but you're like, okay, I can't take 30 leads a day and do all my service work. Well, that difference between the 20, it's at 11,000 right now, profit, and the 30 is 6,000. You could probably hire an assistant for $3,000 a month to take that service work off your plate. Like, these are the decisions you can make just if you know your cap score. Okay, and the biggest thing that affects your cap score is your closing rate and your place rate. So you'll find out your biggest weakness just by going through the exercise and knowing, like, oh my gosh, I'm below a 5%. That means I'm not even average. You can have that moment where you're like, okay, this really is because I haven't done X, Y, or Z, right? And your mentor, your coach will tell you that. They should tell you that straight up, but you can tell yourself that as well just by tracking those numbers, okay? So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is track your cap score. Track the closing rate, annual premium, and place rate, okay? And then figure out where your biggest weaknesses are and let that be your determining factor on what you do next. You may just need to lift your place rate up because your closing rate's good, right? But your place rate's really low and you didn't know that. And so it may just be a small tweak in your button up in your service, in, just making sure it's even affordable for them. Maybe you're not using Social Security billing. Could be a number of things, okay? But you'll determine where the weakness is and you'll be able to fix that weakness, get that cap up where okay, now every lead that I take, I'm placing $40. I'm only paying $10. I'm placing 40, potentially 45, 50. Then it becomes, how many leads can I take? Okay? And that's where it gets really interesting for agents, is when they have that aha moment that their skills right now can build this income machine, and it could get even better. Okay? And a lot of agents need to come to terms with their cap score and be honest with themselves that, okay, paying $10 a lead, my cap score's 15. This isn't working, but you can have that realization, like, okay, what is it that's not working? Is it my effort? Am I doing what's required to be successful? Or am I just thinking that I can read a script and make it, make a session of dials a day and think this will work? Okay, maybe it's expectations. But if you want the source of truth in your business, it's the cap score. And then the modified cap score, which you factor in the leads taken. That's all that matters. If you can see your business through that lens, you can remove a lot of the emotion. It just becomes a math problem. And what you put into the business is what determines how well that math problem will work in your favor, how that math problem will affect your profits. Okay? That's what matters here. So, guys, look at your cap score. Go to the last 30 days or just go last month. Understand what your close rate, annual premium, placement rate is. If you don't know your placement rate, we give our agents their placement rate in our AMS. It calculates it for them of all their policies so that they can get that number. That's so important to have. If you don't have that, calculate it yourself. Go through all your policies. Make sure it's been at least 5 weeks, okay? Because some you make a sale today, you may draft 30 days from now because you post dated it for the Social Security billing date. And then you have to check, a week after that to make sure it's in force. So make sure you're only looking at stuff from, looking 5 weeks back. So understand your place rate, your closing rate and annual premium to figure out where you are in this business and make your decisions based on that. Things will become a lot clearer to you and this business really becomes a lot more simple. Okay. And all I can do right now is just recommend tracking that and keeping track of that and knowing it every month. This is my cap score. And then it's almost gamified. Okay, my cap score is $32 this month. I'm going to get it to $35 this month. Once I get it to $35, I'm going to take another 5 leads a day. Once I get to $40, I'm going to take another 5 leads a day, right? And you can have a plan, and you can track that plan to hit your income goals and make this business what you want. Get what you want out of this business. All right. So I hope this helps you guys. This is, to simplify the process down to a math problem. If everybody can see it this way, it may help with a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the self-doubt, right? To know that you are placing a certain amount of every lead that you take. Okay. Hope this helps some of you. And yeah, that's it.